the left's continued priority remains on making sure that you believe that your little boys can be little girls and your little girls can be little boys. And more importantly, that your little boys are told they can be little girls and vice versa at school without your parental permission. It remains insane to me that this is what Democrats are going to run on. Open borders, weakening our military, and little boys should be little girls. That is an insane platform for them to run on. But they are so in their echo chamber, man. It is crazy. Because every poll, every single one that shows, that asks people what they think of, for example, the Florida, quote unquote, don't say gay law, which again, that was it. It was a term coined by activists of the left. That is not what the bill says. And when people are read the text of the bill, a majority of Democrats agree with the bill. According to the Wall Street Journal, according to a poll from Public Opinion Strategies, when Americans are presented with the actual language of the new Florida law, it wins support by more than a 2-to-1 margin. 61% of people say they support the Florida law, only 26% opposed. Democratic voters in the poll support the law 55% to 29%. 55% to 29%. Among suburban voters, 60 to 30. Parents, 67 to 24. Biden voters, 53 to 30. Respondents who know somebody who is LGBTQ, which, by the way, at this point in American life is pretty much everybody, 61 to 28. So the woke progressives who run the media and who are now mirrored in the Biden administration because there's been a mind meld, sort of Star Trek mind meld between the media and Democratic politicians, they've convinced themselves that if they just say don't say gay over and over and over, people will suddenly support their agenda. Wrong. Your agenda is garbage. And one of the things that the left has now been doing, and they've been doing this for quite a while, is they've been reversing the polarity. So the idea is that people who resist their predations are the aggressors in the culture war. There was one Chiron that really said this also. Over the weekend, CNN hosted Brian Stelter, the most reliable of all reliable sources. He hosted Charlotte Clymer, who is a man who believes he is a woman. Charlotte Clymer is a columnist for The Washington Post and declared that he was transgender in 2017. So this is a man who's had some hormone treatments and is wearing women's clothing and makeup. May suffer from gender dysphoria, may not, may just identify as a woman, whatever it is. Okay, there's no question that the left is the aggressor in the culture wars. The way that you know that the left is the aggressor in the culture wars is if you look at the platform from 2008 for the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party was in favor of traditional marriage. Barack Obama in 2008, that was just 14 years ago, was in favor of traditional marriage. The mere thought that you would be teaching boys and girls in public schools that they can be members of the opposite sex would have been considered insane by everyone, up to and including Joe Biden and Barack Obama in 2008. Everyone would have thought this was insane. But here is the Chiron from CNN, quote, LGBTQ community, latest to be caught in culture war. Oh, really? Were they caught in the culture war, were they? Is that what happened here? Or was it that LGBTQ activists initiated the culture war? They initiated the culture war. There hasn't been a move from the right in the culture war on this stuff for decades. I mean, every move that has been made here has been a move to the progressive left. We went from sodomy was illegal in most states to sodomy is not illegal to sodomy is now protected by the Constitution of the United States to same-sex marriage is protected by the Constitution of the United States to men can be women. That's been the move over the course of time. Has a single move there been an aggressive move by the right-wing culture warriors? But the left has to they have to recapitulate this entire culture war battle as moves by the right. Because when people notice that the aggressors in the culture war are in fact people who are calling for mass standards to be changed on behalf of their own egos, essentially, then people start to resist. And particularly when you are requiring that you be able to shape my children so that you feel better about yourself, that's when parents stand up and they're like, no, we're not going to do any of this. So the left has to, again, reshape this as though they are the victims in the culture war. They are not the victims in the culture war. They are the aggressors in the culture war. And so they're getting more and more perverse in the way they are depicting the culture war. There's a column, there was a cartoon in the Washington Post from staff artist Michael D. Adder. This is an insane cartoon. It is a cartoon of Ron DeSantis carrying a basket of apples like he's the witch in Snow White, because he's talking to Snow White and Mickey Mouse. And in the basket are apparently poisoned apples that say, don't say gay. And he says, I'm protecting Florida's children from you. And in the background, there are literally dead kids, who, by the way, are clearly modeled. You can see in the photos. They are modeled clearly after a photo of a Syrian refugee child who drowned several years ago. This is in 2015. So the idea is that Ron DeSantis is killing trans kids. Okay, no. Saying that you can't indoctrinate small children into gender confusion is not killing trans kids, as it turns out. In fact, the threat to the children is coming from the left, because the left is the culture war aggressor. Confusing small children about gender and sexual identity at the age of 5, 6, 7 years old. That's you guys being the wicked witch and selling poisoned apples to children. You're the aggressors in the culture wars. But the idea is that everyone who opposes it is the aggressor in the culture war. And I have to say, it is incredible to me. By the way, you know who knows that the left is the aggressor? The true left, the far left, is the aggressor in the culture war? Even members of the lesbian and gay community are beginning to say, hold up a second. Hold up a second. Now, this whole kind of mashup, LGBTQIA plus minus divided by sign, tilde, caret sign, percentage sign, ampersand. People who are lesbian and gay, who started this movement by saying, we just wish to be able to live our lives and do what we want to do in the privacy of our own bedrooms. And most people are like, okay. Lesbian and gay people, even they're beginning to look around and say, wait, hold up a second. How did all of these people get to ride along in the car? And Dave Chappelle did a whole comedy bit about this, and he is correct. A lot of lesbians and gays are looking around going, wait, how did this guy who thinks he's a girl get in the back of the car? How does this person who identifies as asexual end up as part of our coalition? And I'm confused as to how your self-identification as a member of a victimized group, when you are not a member of a victimized group, sort of happened here. A very telling tweet from Josh Barrow, who's a gay man. He has written for a wide variety of sources. Josh Barrow, he is definitely a person of the left. And he tweeted out a graphic the other day of this sort of bizarre spectrum, the ACE spectrum. He said, the last people whose interest this serves are gays and lesbians, a new nonsense identity invented every week demanding a share of our political capital. And he shows a graphic of the various types of sexual identity that are now being identified as LGBTQIA plus minus colon, semicolon, quotation mark, backslash. The ACE spectrum, asexual, no sexual attraction is experienced. Flag used for this identity and to represent ACE umbrella. Demisexual, may experience sexual attraction only once a deep emotional bond occurs, which is also just called being a woman. Gray sexual, experiences sexual attraction rarely and or weakly and or ambiguously. And don't worry, guys, April 6th, prepare for it. Just a couple of days from now, I know you're all excited, is International Asexual Day, where we all just stand around and look bewildered at one another. There are some more ACE identities, like ace flux, an orientation which fluctuates across the ACE spectrum. That's fun. That one just kind of like it moves in and out. It's you never know what it is. The quoisexual, that is spelled Q-U-O-I. I'm learning new things just from this chart. Unsure whether you experience sexual attraction. Unsure. Quoisexual. Caed-sexual. C-A-E-D. So we're just making up not only words, but prefixes. Previously allosexual, now asexual due to past trauma. This is getting extremely specific. Phrasexual. Opposite of demi. Attraction dissipates once a bond occurs. So this is just called horny men. Phrasexual. Agosexual. Spelled A-E-G-O. A disconnection is felt toward the subject of arousal. I like that these all have flags. This is interesting. And autosexual. Sexual attraction is primarily and exclusively felt toward oneself, which I think describes a huge number of people who are so egotistically narcissistic that all they do is this masturbatory self-identification nonsense. Autosexual. Well, as Woody Allen says, at least it's sex with someone you love. So Josh Barrow, who's a gay man, he's like, what is this? Like, again, everyone of reasonable bent is now looking at the predations of the left and they're going, what are you doing? What are you doing? The aggressors in the culture war are clearly members of the left. So this means that the left now has to recapitulate all of this and pretend that the right is the aggressor. The battle for the culture is heating up. We here at the Daily Wire are making some big moves. So be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, because you're not going to want to miss a single moment.